the watchers. I think this could be an interesting talk that we have here. I'll let you go first, Pete, and then I'll kind of counter.
Did you see it?
Yeah, I've seen it.
Oh, good. Okay, so as mentioned, this is directed by the daughter of M. Night Shyamalan, Ishana Shyamalan, and stars Dakota Fanning. This is about Dakota Fanning is this artist who gets stranded in this forest in Ireland, and she finds shelter. She becomes trapped inside of this cabin almost, or like this building with
Yeah.
three other strangers, and she has no idea what's going on. They're like, we have to stay here and we have to stand in front of this thing because the watchers want to look at us like all day. They have like they want to observe us. And these are like pretty awful creatures that are just going to rip you apart if you try to leave the woods. Um, and I'm not gonna I don't want to get into it in terms of like how the story progresses and the ending of it. Obviously, I want you to go out and see this movie and comment about what your thoughts were. I thought personally, I'm like it was fine. I feel like this is like her first film, and I can see her talent. I'm talking about Ishana. Um, I can see where she's headed, and she's going to have a pretty good career as far as I'm concerned, just based on this film. Um, I think that she just took one too many lessons from her dad, and it just screamed an M. Night movie, but didn't execute on being an M. Night movie. It was still fine, but you know, yeah, I kind of expected more from this film, to be honest. I thought Dakota Fanning was great. The other characters were great. It's a good story. The creatures are cool. Yeah, that's my review. I would go and see it because I really am curious about everyone's
It,
thoughts about it.
it's yeah,
And
it
I think a lot of people are going to have the same problem. Like, I don't think I could watch it without having that M. Night shadow looming over it. Like,
yeah.
and that's unfair.
It's a unique movie, and I didn't expect it to be an M. Night Shyamalan movie just because I knew, well, one, this to me, the comp for this one is old, where it's kind of like this very kind of unique premise, and it's like not explanatory, but you're still kind of curious and on this journey of like, where is this going to go? And I didn't mind where it went. I kind of was intrigued, and it sets up. There's most likely going to be a sequel to this, possibly, because the box office is not treating it extremely well. But I kind of liked where it was heading. I agree with you. I don't think it was a perfect film, but I thought it was an interesting film enough and a unique-ish film. It was, to me, A Quiet Place was also kind of a comp as well, not as tight as A Quiet Place, because I think Quiet Place was
Next level.
in that kind of genre. I think it was pretty flawless, whether it's the cinematography, the music, the sound design, the uniqueness. I think it was a pretty solid movie. I think this is like, kind of the poor man's version of A Quiet Place meets old, where it's like, again, like how it one that how are they going to get out of this? I thought was interesting, and then kind of where it goes, it kind of becomes a bigger story. Because at one point I was like, all right, that's cool, and I thought the movie was actually going to end, and then there was this whole kind of second chapter to it, and I was like,
Yeah,
oh, I was like, okay, good, because
me too. I thought it was going to end too, and it didn't.
so I was kind of happy about that because I was like, okay, like it worked, but like it was just like okay, not like, and then I kind of like the ending a little bit better, but still, it's just I think it's because it's such kind of a unique story in itself. So I think it's just I don't know if there's an A+ version of this movie anyway.
No.
I think it's just a different story, and it take it for what it is. But like I don't know what I would have done differently to been, and without like fully rewriting something. But even then, like I don't know where I would necessarily go for it.
No.
To me, it's just kind of a take it or leave it type of a film where it's like either like where it went or it didn't, but it's not like, "Oh, if they would have done that, this movie would have been the best movie ever." I just don't think that's what the subject matter is. It's
But without giving it away, like when
Yeah.
you thought, because I think we're thinking about the same moment, when you think the movie ends and then it doesn't, at that point, this is probably the letdown for me the most, is that it was, I mean, you almost guessed what was going to happen next. Like you just knew that that was going to be the next part.
Yeah.
Um, and so it was kind of like, all right, fine. That's fine. It's fine. It's a good movie and you should see it. And again, I think you should support this movie in a way because I think that this girl deserves more directing jobs. I thought she did a fantastic job.
Yeah. 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 I agree. I think it's definitely worth watching. And I thought it was entertaining that it deserves a look. And I think, I wouldn't call it a genre film. I think it's a higher than that. But I think within this world, this genre of like, I don't know,
Thrillers.
kind of like creepy thriller. Yeah, I thought that was solid. And
Yeah.
yeah. All right. Next we
If
have
I ever direct a movie for the first time and it turns out that good, then I would be really happy. So I'm I'm
yeah.
I'm talking about somebody who's done something for the first time that I have never done. So it's kind
Well,
of
to me, I don't know who wrote it. I didn't look who wrote it. To me, this is like it's all based off the script. Like I just don't know what the potential of this script really truly is, if that makes sense. So I didn't have
yeah.
an issue with it, but I would definitely watch the second one if the second one came out. Like it was that interesting. The only other part too, just oh, she did write it. The other part too would have been like kind of what sets off the journey doesn't make 100% sense, but that's a nitpicky thing.
Yeah, a little nitpicky.
It's just like it never they never really kind of paid that off. Like
Yeah.
why are they way there anyway? Like if no one is really goes there in that
Right.
area where they're at, like it just didn't make any sense to me. But like, yeah, neither here nor there.